Moving on now to our focus segment. Now, as the world continues to try to deal with refugees from Iraq and Syria, Sweden has established itself as the most generous nation in Europe. It is unique, basically, in that it guarantees asylum to those who reach its borders. Now, though, some say the open door policy needs to end because the problems of housing and unemployment are just too great. Our correspondent Malcolm Brabant has been to one town south of Stockholm, which has become a magnet for Middle Eastern Christians.
The Orthodox Christians of Iraq and Syria are among those most under threat from the advances of the Islamic State organization. 30,000 live in Södertälje. The established population has been swollen by more than 2,000 refugees over the past 2 years, and more are seeking sanctuary.
The attack of the Islamic State on the areas of the minorities in Iraq especially, we believe this will create a new wave, and we believe that people will soon start to make their way to Sweden actually. Many of them we expect or believe they will end up in Södertälje because they have relatives, they have friends here, there's a very large community here, so it attracts them.
This is the biggest influx of refugees that Sweden has accepted since the Balkan Wars of the 1990s. The Migration Board says that by the end of this year, there'll have been 85,000 people who'll have come from Syria and Iraq. Next year, the estimate is 105,000. The cost to the Swedish taxpayer, $4 billion. That's 1% of national output. The resources of the good ship Sweden are being stretched to the limit, according to right-wing anti-immigrant politicians, whose popularity is on the rise. Extraordinarily, the Sweden Democrats' wish to restrict the number of refugees is shared by the exile's leader. He would prefer that Western assistance enabled Iraqis and Syrians to remain in the Middle East.
If you would have open border policy, so many people would come that Sweden would never be able to cope with it. So we have to somewhere put a figure, a line, and say, and this is what we can cope with. And it's not good for the newly arrived either to come here and just be stuck within four walls and not have a job and never meet a Swedish person. So it's not good for anyone.